So to start us off, you're from Sydney. You went to the University of Technology, Sydney, and then ended up at the City Kickboxing in New Zealand. How did that journey happen?
Oh, geez, that journey happened. It started probably like 2018 when I went over to New Zealand to just on like a little holiday there, and I decided I was going to check out City Kickboxing while I was there. I was like, fuck, I'll just go check out the gym, and then I did like probably like a week stint at the gym there, and man, I just loved it. Like the first day I walked in there was like a sparring day. There was heaps of bodies on the mat, heaps of people my size, obviously UFC fighters and all that. And then yeah, and then I decided that was like October 2018. Then I decided, fuck man, if I want to get any better, I should move over there and start training. So then I just thought, fuck it, I'll just move. And then at the start of 2019, I packed up a couple suitcases and moved over there.
Yeah, that's where I was actually gonna go to next. You said you sold your car and moved from Sydney to Auckland to commit fully to City Kickboxing. What was that decision like, and what did it say about where your head was at?
At the time, my head was a little bit all over the place. Like I was coming off a KO loss the previous year in I think August or September. So I was still kind of in two minds of whether I wanted to do this, and this was kind of like my last run, I guess, my last decision, my last chance to kind of go all in on it. And yeah, like I was still living at home at the time, so it was pretty easy to just you know, pack my stuff up into a couple boxes, leave it at my parents' place, shove a bunch of clothes and training gear into these suitcases, sell the car, and then move over. Like it wasn't going from New Zealand to Australia to New Zealand, rather, is quite easy. It's like everyone speaks English, drive on the left, similar, no visas required or anything, same power outlet. So it was pretty smooth.
It was just like you knew you could do it. You knew it was the right move. You just went for it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Changing paces a little bit. The nickname, we got to talk about it. Battle Giraffe. We need to hear the story. Where did that come from?
Oh, the battle draft. That name was gifted to me
Mm,
or branded on me by Brad Riddell.
okay.
He We were training in we were living at City Kickboxing for 2 weeks during COVID, and all the boys were getting ready to probably about 10 of us, some of the boys were getting ready to fight on Fight Island. Israel was getting ready to fight Paul Acosta, and we are doing shuttle runs out the front of the gym on the road. And there's like a 10 meter, a 20 meter, and then a 40-meter cone. So you're doing back and forth. Brad Riddell, he's the fastest white man in all of New Zealand. So he does the 10 and the 20, and he's absolutely blitzed me.
Okay.
And then when we get to the 40, he's about here. But for every 3 steps he was taking, I was taking 1 step. So eventually I just passed him like this on the 40-meter cone. And then he was like, oh, it's like racing against a giraffe. And then later that night we were sparring and I was just hitting him with some teeps from about 2 meters away. And he was like, that's it. You're the battle giraffe. He's like, yeah, I'm going to call you the battle giraffe. So then every time I walked into the gym, it was like, hey, what's up, battle giraffe? How's it going?
So at 6'3" with a 78-inch reach, do you think you actually fight like a giraffe, or is it just a funny name?
Giraffe fights with its neck, you seen the videos they're going and they whack each other with their heads. I do use my head a little bit sometimes, but I'm not really whacking people with it. But it's a pretty good nickname, I think.
What's something your teammates know about you that your opponent should be scared of?
Oh, what's something my teammates know about me? I don't shower for 2 days before the fight, so I stink.
So I can assume that must be why you're on that six-fight win streak then.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
So on that six-fight win streak, you have five of them by finish. At what point did everything click for you?
I would say it was like after my first run on contenders against Torres Finney, after that loss from him. I It kind of clicked then because I just kind of knew like the mentality that everyone at that level has.
Mm.
It's you're not going to get guys who are just there, who are just happy to be there. Everyone is there and they really want to win. So that was one thing I had to kind of remind myself, or one thing I learned after that was that, hey, like I'm at that level now and no one's here just for like recreational sport. This isn't like Sunday league. This is the real deal. These guys are coming in here and they're not going to roll over. So yeah, from that point, I just knew I had to have that mentality as well.
Well, getting that mentality obviously fared well for you as later on you went to KO Andre Petrosky in under 3 minutes, and it was violent. You want to walk me through that night?
Yeah, that was really good that night. That whole week in Perth was sweet. Like there was four of us on the card. We went four from four. Um, but it was like I think it was like 5 or 6 weeks after my contender series fight, so I was still like super fit. It was getting into that fight week was it just felt like routine again. It didn't feel like anything was out of the ordinary or like anything really caught me off guard. We had quite a bit of media as well, but I'd been used to the media and the lights from, the contender series week, and I was just flowing in there. I don't really remember much of the walkout. It was a bit of a blur,
Mhm.
and I just was just on autopilot during that fight. And then by the end, like when I had him on the ground and I was finishing him, and I could hear the referee saying, improve your position, Andre. You got to move. And that's when I kind of came to consciously, and I was like, oh shit, I'm about to win this. And I just kept going and going.
So with those blackouts almost in the ring, do you black out when that cage door closes, or what do you think about right when it closes?
Um, right when it closes, I'm usually just looking over the cage at the other guy, and I'm very, very focused on my opponent. I'm not thinking too much about it's just like I'm not thinking too much about the cage door is closed now, like this I have to do this and so on. I am very much on like a autopilot, almost out of body experience at
Mhm.
that stage.
Well, that's been working very well for you so far in your career. Let's look more to your contender series story. You failed to get into the UFC the first time in 2024, as you said, against Therese Finney. I know you said that that loss showed you that people aren't just here to play. Did that loss affect you mentally in any other way? And besides that, what did you change?
Yeah, mentally, I probably had like maybe a week period,
Mm.
5 or 6 days, 7 days, where I was like, "Fuck!" Like, do I want like it's a long climb to get back there to get to the contender series, and I was like, it might be a long climb to get back there again, and I was like, kind of umming and ahhing and like tossing up, do I want to do this again? I'm going to be 30 by the time the next contender series rolls around. Like, do the UFC really want to take me at 30? Like, will it be worth my effort? Should I be going and like looking at doing something else? Blah 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 stuff like that. But that lasted about a week, and then just got back into the gym and reassessed and went for it again. But other than that, like that was really only the way that it negatively affected me mentally.
Well, I mean, since it negatively affected you so small, you came back a year later and finished Holmes in under 3 minutes and, got that call eventually. What was that moment like for you?
That was a really good experience. Like I felt a lot of time and frustration and training, like years and years of like I guess emotion kind of built up, and that was very relieving to have that call up for the UFC. It's a big relief to finally get there after years and years of grinding. Um, I didn't want to celebrate too much, because I knew that was just the start. It was getting in the UFC is great, but you don't want to be you don't want to be cannon fodder. You want to get in there and start winning fights and making a name.
100%. So you say that that win was relieving for you and the loss against Finney, changed your mentality of how you have to go into it. Besides those, is there one moment in your career that nobody knows about that had changed everything for you?
I wouldn't say this was like a conscious effort that was made by me, or like it was just the way that I guess the dice was rolled, or the cards were dealt. But in 2019, one championship had like a tryout for I guess their own version of Contender Series. And I went over and I did the tryout and all that stuff. And I thought I was like, for sure they're going to pick me. Like I'm one of the only guys here who's above pretty much welterweight. There was maybe another welterweight and myself. And then everyone else was like bantamweight,
Mhm.
featherweight, flyweight. And I was like, oh, for sure they'll just pick me. And they didn't pick me. And it was kind of like, oh crap, okay, maybe one championship doesn't want me. And so then I was like, I'm just gonna focus on trying to get into the UFC and all the stuff like that. And it's worked out for the best.
It 100% has. And throughout that journey so far, you've been with City Kickboxing, as we said, and there you train alongside guys like Israel Adesanya, Carlos Ulberg, Dan Hooker. Who pushes you over at City Kickboxing the hardest?
Oh, who pushes me?
Mhm.
The those guys, Ulberg, Adesanya, Navajo Sterling,
Mhm.
Brando Pericic, they push me for sure. Like we have to push each other because we know like how high stakes the fights are. But there are some younger guys coming through the gym who, they want to prove themselves. They're not being reckless with their training or trying to endanger me, but they want to make sure that their level of skill is up to that of a UFC fighter, and because eventually they want to be in the UFC as well. So I got a young Brody Maoki who's 21 years old. He'll be in the UFC soon. Um, if everything falls into place and he keeps going on the path he's going, he'll be in the UFC soon. And he's been pushing me so hard this training camp, and it's been quite frustrating how hard he's been pushing me and like getting the better of me as well. So yeah, that's one bloke who's been really helping me.
Do you think that him pushing you there will lead to a positive outcome against Bryczek in your upcoming fight?
Oh, definitely.
Mhm.
He's been because he's so talented and he's very very well rounded. He can emulate a lot of different opponents, not just for myself, but for he can do it for Dan Hooker as well. He can do it for guys like Rong Zhu and all these other people that we have in the gym who are in the UFC. So he gives me a very good what we call a look. So he's been giving me the look of Robert Bryczek very good, and yeah, it's definitely going to help.
On your upcoming fight in Perth, you're essentially fighting in your home crowd as an Australian. So what does that mean to you?
Yeah, fighting in front of the home crowd is always means a lot because I have people who are flying in from different cities who are spending a lot of their money just to come and watch me fight, just for come and watch me for 15 minutes essentially. And I don't want to disappoint them. I want to give them a good show. I want them to be able to I want them to have something to cheer about and celebrate and smile about.
That's an awesome way to go into it. Going back over to Brody Markey emulating Bryczek, with him pushing you so hard, I could see how that would emulate Bryczek's skill set as he's 18-6 with 12 knockout wins through boxing. How do you see this fight playing out stylistically?
Oh, yeah, stylistically it's he's a guy who really likes to come forwards and does his best work when he's got momentum coming forwards. And for me, I like to come forwards as well, but I can move backwards and box and kickbox and do a lot of work as I'm on the back foot. So it's going to be a bit of like a bull and a matador type situation.
Okay. Would you call that your game plan, sort of, that, to play a more secondary role in the fight and let him make the mistakes?
I have many game plans for this fight. That is
Mhm.
uh, that is certainly one of the game plans. But I've got a A plan, a B plan, a C plan, and a D plan as well.
That's a really, smart way to go into it, realistically. Are those game plans that, round per round, you're going to talk with your coaches and the guys in your corner and just switch a game plan depending on how he's reacting?
Yeah, yeah, it can come down to my corner deciding that we need to change the game plan, but I can also when I'm in there, they see things, but I also feel things, and
Mhm.
if I need to, I can just call an audible and make and change the game plan myself.
That's a really good skill to have. More so on your corner. If your corner could only say one word to you in between rounds, what would you want it to be?
Breathe, recover, breathe. I have a pretty bad habit in training of like of not utilizing a full recovery
Mhm.
or just or focusing on my recovery rather. I tend to lose a little bit of focus in between rounds, and being able to just focus on breathing is a great way to focus on the fight essentially.
Mhm. Staying in those hypothetical situations, after this next fight, who's someone that, would be a realistic opponent for you? And who's a fighter that would be a dream fight for you after this fight?
A realistic fight for me after this. Oh, I wouldn't mind fighting someone like Roman Dolidze. I think he
Mm.
might still be in the a top contender. He's he had he's coming off a loss, and I think if I get when I get this win, an up and comer versus a guy who's been holding down a top 15 spot for a while is that would make a lot of sense to me it does. I don't know about the UFC, but I'm sure it would to them as well. And a dream fight for me, boy, give me Hamza. He's got the
Hmm.
belt. That's the dream, winning the belt.
100%. So, with a win against Bryczek and, a win against Dolidze, because I could definitely see the UFC placing him in a gatekeeper role against you, breaking into that top contender rankings. In the hypothetical that you won that fight, would you call up for that title shot next, or do you think there's levels that you need to go through?
Yeah, there's definitely levels you need to go through. I think beating the guy who's number 15 is very hard to justify getting a title fight. But hey, you never know. Like, look at the state of the middleweight division at the moment. No fighter is really coming through at the moment and just shocking everyone and being like, oh shit, he's next. Like, even if he just beats someone, top 15, like 14, 13, 12, whatever, like, there's no one really in that position yet where they want to push hard for a title shot. I mean, they're giving Strickland another title shot. So, yeah, it could be anyone.
Well, you're 31 and you're coming off of these really impressive knockout wins, these finish wins. So, if anybody would be that guy, it could be you. You coming up on May 2nd, following that, where do you see yourself in the middleweight divisions over the next year?
Over the next year, I'm gonna catapult myself into those rankings. I want to. If you come back and you speak to me in 12 months' time, you're gonna see a number next to my name, and it's gonna be a single digit. It's not gonna be 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. It's gonna be up the top there. Hopefully five or above.
Well, in a year, I'd be honored to interview ranked contender Cam Rowston for sure. On that, what would a title fight or a title shot mean to you as a guy who's been grinding for over a decade?
It would mean a lot because it's kind of like is like if you look at our gym, we have so many guys who have fought for titles, so many guys who have won titles, and it's just like a justification of like not just my hard work, but the hard work of the coaches there who have created such a good environment and a system that is building and creating champions, guys who are fighting for titles.
Mm.
And that would just be outstanding to me because I've bought into this system. I've gone all in and I've bought in on what the coaches are selling and it's working there and that would just justify my belief and their hard work and all their ideas.
Well, you've bought in, and it's definitely paid off. To close us out, I have two more questions for you. When the gloves come off, who is Cam Rouston outside of fighting?
When the gloves come off, Cam
Mhm.
Rowston is just I'm a pretty easygoing guy. I've no wife, no children.
Hmm.
You got a you got a cat down here.
What's the cat's name?
That's Tyson.
Tyson.
That's yeah, he's a bit of a sooky boy. Like he doesn't if he doesn't get his breakfast on time, he'll come in and he'll have a cry and stuff like that. But man, that just I'd say I'm pretty normal. I don't I don't have any crazy other hobbies where I jump out of airplanes or anything like that. But man, I just love fighting. I love watching fighting, studying fighting. That's as soon as I come home from the gym, it's straight on to watching fights or watching breakdowns of fights or instructionals.
That's awesome. I mean, I wanted to thank you for your time. It's been a really great interview so far. Uh, my last question is, what's a version of you that your opponents haven't seen yet?
I have not seen Cam Rowston, the NCAA All-American Division One wrestler with an ADCC absolute gold medal. I think I've got some of the best grappling, and it still hasn't shown yet.
showing off that grappling background and this next fight possibly with Bryczek, if fights to come, will really show the UFC and the matchmakers that you are that guy and you have all the skills to make it to that next level.
Yes, certainly. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have for you today. Thank you very much for your time, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks, John.
You think